Hey K-Poppers, and welcome back to Hallyu. This week we're talking about the one and only FX, a 5-member girl group formed by SM Entertainment. We're going to be taking a look at how they were formed from members who came from all different walks of life, and then see how they broke through to become critically acclaimed superstars just a year or so after their debut. Next, we'll discuss the sudden end to their activities as a group in 2016 and try to understand what really happened to them, including why there's still hope of a reunion as recently as a couple of weeks ago. Before we get started, I want to quickly thank Hallyu's honorary producers. If you want to show off your bias group here, share your pics in weekly videos, and join a vibrant Discord community with watch parties, custom emoji, and more, all you need to do is support Hallyu on Patreon. Let's start out by taking a look at FX's pre-debut era because it's pretty interesting. Each of the 5 members came into SM and joined the group in very unique ways. Crystal was scouted all the way back in 2000 while visiting family in Korea alongside her sister Jessica, who of course would go on to debut in Girls' Generation, another SM girl group. Sully was a child actress and garnered some attention from the label after her television debut in the SBS show Ballad of Sodong. Luna was also recruited after a television appearance, but for her it was a reality TV show called Truth Game that she was on in 2006. Meanwhile, Victoria was scouted in September of 2007 when she won first place at a prestigious dance competition in Beijing, China. And finally, Amber, who like Crystal is American, was scouted in 2008 as part of SM's global auditions held in Los Angeles. SM Entertainment first teased the new girl group on August 24, 2009, introducing them as a dance-focused pop group. And I have to take a slight detour here to acknowledge FX's actual name, because it is my favorite in all of K-pop, partly because I have a background in math and physics. FX is of course how you denote a function in math, and so just like that function can vary its results based on X, the girl group FX can show various talents and appeals. And the name has another meaning too, as the F represents flower and the X the female chromosome, so combined the group is said to symbolize a flower reminiscent of women. But it doesn't stop there. FX's fandom name is MeU, which of course is a combination of me and you. But when you also say it a bit faster, it sounds like mu, which is a common constant used in math and physics, building on the same theme of their group name. So overall, the girls have an awesome name for their group. But back to the main story. On September 1st, 2009, the 5 girls made their official debut with the single La Cha Ta, holding a showcase the very next day, and making their official music show debut 3 days after that on Show Music Core. FX quickly got their first commercial film as well, creating their own version of the song Chocolate Love for LG's new phone at the time. Girls' Generation also made a promo with this song, but FX's version was notably more electropop than SNSD''s. And in November, just 2 months after their debut, FX would release yet another song in the form of Chu. But despite their early songs doing well, the real success was just about to begin. That's because on May 4th, 2010, FX would release their first of many #1 songs, this one being Nu Abio. This started getting the girls noticed a lot, though unfortunately Amber had to sit out the rest of the year after suffering an ankle injury. Nevertheless, the other 4 girls continued promoting, following up that cycle with another one for the song Mr. Boogie. And then FX took their fame one step further with the release of their first studio album, Pinocchio, and its lead single, Danger. This song was an instant hit, and they would go on to take 8 music show wins and top the Gallon album and singles charts. The repackage with Hot Summer also did very well, as the group was raking in multi-million digital sales figures with each new song that they put out. FX was on a roll, and their unique musical style, which had a lot of experimental influences in electropop sounds, was really helping them stand out among other girl groups. And as 2012 rolled around, FX were entering into their golden era, starting with the EP Electric Shock. This song is a classic, and it showcases a heavy electronic sound which again helped the girls stand out with that unique sound. They went on to win another 9 music shows for this song and even took home a Mama for Best Dance Performance for a Female Group. Their success and the fact that they had international members even allowed them to break through overseas, as FX became the first K-pop group to ever perform at a South by Southwest back in 2013. And while they were there, they filmed this great Funny or Die sketch which features Anna Kendrick, StarCraft, and of course the song Electric Shock. But what FX was about to do next is in my opinion their crowning achievement as music artists. That's because their next comeback was Rum Pum Pum Pum, which was the lead single on the album Pink Tape. Pink Tape is an absolute masterpiece through and through, and if you joined K-pop in the last few years and have never given this album a full listen, please do go check it out. B-tracks like Shadow, Airplane, and Toy highlight this spectacular album which received critical acclaim, topped the Gallon charts, hit #1 on Billboard's K-pop 100 and World Albums chart, and sold over 100,000 copies all the way back in 2013. In my opinion, FX's Pink Tape is easily top 5 best K-pop albums of all time, and I don't see it losing that distinction anytime soon. And the group followed that album up with another hit, Red Light. This Clockwork Orange-inspired MV also had poignant lyrics which referenced the Sable Ferry disaster, and it became the group's 3rd consecutive studio album to hit #1. It was at this point that SM announced Sully would be going on a temporary hiatus for health reasons, though as we know now, that would be Sully's last comeback with FX. Sully would go on to leave FX to pursue acting in August 2015, and the group continued on as 4, releasing yet another #1 studio album later that year with 4 Walls. But this is where the story of FX starts to become a tad bit baffling, because though they would go on to release a couple of project singles, Wishlist for SM's Christmas Project and All Mine for SM Station, FX started just disappearing. In the entirety of the year 2016, they had a concert in January, a station release in July, Luna released Free Somebody, and they had a Japanese single album in November. And that's it. FX's time as a group quickly fizzled out after that as each of the members began to do their own thing, whether that was music, acting, or modeling. And to be clear, this wasn't an issue of contracts expiring. The members were still all under contract with SM until 2020. Yet the only real group activity that FX had was a performance at the SM Town Live 2019 in Tokyo, where Amber, Luna, and Crystal performed without Victoria there. And of course, in October 2019, just months after releasing her solo debut Goblin, Sully tragically took her own life, shocking the K-pop world. So as I mentioned, when 2020 rolled around, one by one the members began to officially leave SM Entertainment. Amber revealed on September 1st that she hadn't renewed with SM, and 4 days later, Luna and Victoria shared the same thing. Though Victoria did end up staying with SM, kind of, but basically started promoting herself in China instead. Crystal would be the final member to leave, doing so on October 12th, 2020. So how could such a critically acclaimed group, a group that was practically a guaranteed chart topper and who had literally won a Golden Disc Award in 2016, just fizzle out? Well, let's try and understand why. To be clear, there is no concrete explanation. We have some hints and breadcrumbs here and there that we're going to talk about, but I doubt we'll ever truly know all the details of what exactly happened and why it looked so sudden to fans. One clue that we got came from Crystal. After over a year of relative silence from the group, Crystal gave an interview in early 2018 stating that members frequently talked about making a comeback, but that the timing never seemed to work out. It seems like a big factor for FX's disappearance as a group was scheduling, and in my view this is a consequence of the members wanting to pursue their own careers. Remember what I mentioned at the start of the video, the 5 members were cast in very different ways and for different talents. And since 2016, we did see each member pursue different solo careers well under SM Entertainment. Amber produced solo songs like Borders and Beautiful, while Victoria pursued modeling and establishing herself in China, where she was originally scouted all those years ago. And as each member got settled into different areas of the entertainment world, as Crystal said, their schedules no longer aligned like they'd want to for group activities. Now, was there mismanagement by SM? I'd be shocked if there wasn't, because when you look at it, you have an award-winning, critically acclaimed, chart-topping girl group. There's no reason that under proper management and promotion, a group like that wouldn't want to continue promoting and making music, assuming of course that they're being given the freedom to do so. In fact, just a few weeks ago, Amber was interviewed by Eric Nam on Dive Studios about this very topic. Check out what she had to say.
Why do you think there was not more FX?
There are so many moving parts. Even if you're in the same company, same group, you have to have a unanimous decision together. Right. There are so many people that have to greenlight a single project.
Like Amber alluded to, I don't think it was one single thing that caused FX to look like they were being dungeoned by SM. Perhaps it was a combination of poor management, some members wanting to take time to pursue other careers, and other groups at SM stealing the spotlight and resources. Like I said, we'll probably never truly know all the full details. But what I do know is that FX was a group that was truly ahead of its time. These girls brought a unique image and style to girl group music in the second generation, often infusing it with electropop elements. They're a group who wasn't afraid to experiment with their own sound and who had the talent to do it and do it well. I think in many ways FX proved to SM Entertainment and to the K-pop world as a whole that you can succeed with music outside of the norms that so many girl groups stick with. I mean, look at SM's very next girl group, Red Velvet. Their debut was far from typical, and I don't doubt for a second that FX's past success gave SM the confidence to pursue that kind of concept for Red Velvet's first musical release. And believe it or not, with everything that I've just said, the door is still not closed on FX. In April of this year, Luna took exception to FX being referred to in the past tense in a review video of her career, hinting at a future comeback. And in that same interview with Eric Nam a couple of weeks back, Amber echoed that sentiment.
I just want to let the fans know, me and the bandmates, all our hearts have always been, let's do FX, let's do FX. You know, when we feel like it's the right time and the business is okay as well, we'll figure it out.
So there you have it. They're the girl group that took K-pop by storm with a brand new sound, the group that was ahead of its time musically, and that gave us masterpiece albums like Pink Tape. And after all these years, they just might be the next second-gen girl group that has more music in store for us just yet. And with that, our look at FX comes to a close. What are your thoughts on their sudden disappearance as a group in late 2016? Do you think it was mostly SM's fault? As always, thank you so much for watching this deep dive, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss all the great K-pop content coming your way right here at Hallyu. This has been Deep Dive number 65, FX.